You know what the happiest guy in the world wants? To be happier.
Love it.
I'm a pretty happy dude. I mean, literally, I've got it tattooed on my forearm backwards. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise. This is my mantra, right? Happy first, right? I'm one of the happiest people I know. Yeah. And you know what? I've got two. Hold on. Sean Aker, Before Happiness. Sean Aker, Happiness Advantage. These are the books I'm reading again. You know why? I like being happy.
Welcome to the Jeff Sutherlin Show. Let's grow today as we learn from decades of real estate and leadership experience.
We want you to know that when you log into this show, you're going to get authentic conversation. We're going to give it to you straight, and it's going to be real. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jeff Sutherlin Show. I am so excited today. I get to interview an industry leader, Russ Laggan. I'm here with Russ and my colleague, Bella Loomis. She's my co-host for today. And wow, we rarely have this kind of talent on the show. Actually, we do a lot. We bring a lot of talent on the show. But Russ is a special kind of talent. So I get the privilege of interviewing a true influencer, honestly, in this real estate industry. And Russ is a senior vice president of growth at EXP Realty. And on a daily basis, Russ gets to have deep conversations with top executives and practitioners across the country in the real estate space. He's got a great track record. It's absolutely astounding. Plus, he has an infectious, positive energy. That's Russ. You can't help but like him, and I'm honored to work alongside of him on a regular basis. I truly believe that this business community that we're in needs more people like Russ. And finally, I'm just here to say thank you for coming, Russ. We have a lot to talk about today, and welcome to the Jeff Sutherlin Show.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I do appreciate it. Great to meet you in person, Bella. I got a couple email volleys with you, but Jeff and I have had a couple of volleys back and forth. He's seen the Dog and Pony Show more than once, so I apologize for what you're about to see. And by the way, that's all fictitious rumors. Don't believe anything Jeff just said. I'm just Russ.
That's right. Just call him Russ. That sounds good. Well, how about this, Russ? Start us off if you could and tell us a little bit about your story. I mean, how'd you end up being in this position? You're one of the key executives for the biggest real estate producing company in the world. So obviously you had to have some sort of track record to get here. Tell us about you.
You know, it's kind of funny because every time I sit in a room with the C-suite and the founder of EXP, I look around the room and I'm like, when are they going to figure out I have no clue what I'm doing and I don't have any idea how I got here? and by the way, it's kind of humorous because when you talk to a lot of high-level leaders, they feel the same way a lot. And I don't really suffer from imposter syndrome because, like, for me, I'm going to go out and talk smack. I'm full throttle. I'm full contact. But when I throw numbers at you, you darn well better believe I know they're right and I can back them up. Otherwise, I'm just not throwing them out there, right? I'd rather say nothing than to have somebody be like, well, Russ, I actually pulled your info. and that's bullshit. So so it's, for me, I started off in the real estate business in 2005. I had just sold a concrete countertop company. Wow. I started a concrete countertop company in 99, sold it in 2004, going into 5. Sounds impressive. But I learned some really valuable lessons on basically how to sell a company and get nothing for it because you're an idiot. And some of those lessons, I mean, it's kind of humorous, Jeff. A lot of people say, well, how did you get to where you are? I'm like, man, I went out and screwed up everything you could screw up twice. And then I screwed up a couple things 3 and 4 times. I used to say jokingly, it's like, I've screwed up so many things so fast and so often. By the time I turn 40, I will be done screwing crap up. And then I turn 40 and I realize I'm just screwing up stuff with more zeros. It just keeps coming. I turned 50 and I'm like, man, how really? So you go from making, think about in your 20s, you're making $100,000 and maybe $10,000 mistakes. You get into your 30s, you're making like $10,000, $40,000, $50,000 mistakes sometimes. Yep. You get into your 40s and you're making $100,000 mistakes. And now I'm sitting in rooms where we're going like, if we do that, we can lose millions. Yeah. It's kind of a fun process. And I don't know if you ever feel like you really have arrived. So I've kind of always had this drive going through the business. Get into real estate in 2005. Moved to Tampa, Florida, got to learn how to build a real estate business, knowing 0 people in a market getting destroyed.
Yes.
Okay. 2006, 7, 8 was not good for Florida. Okay.
Nope.
Single family residence houses went from whatever their price was, they got cut by 50% across the board.
Yep.
Condos and townhouses, a lot of those got cut by 75 and 90% to 90%.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely insane way to learn how to do business. And it's one of those times where like, I had an unfair advantage, Jeff. You know what that was?
Tell me.
If I didn't make money, I didn't get to eat.
Yeah. Definitely.
People are like, Russ, you're so lucky to be where you are. I'm like, you want to take you back to the days when I'm sitting in my car going, like, I'm sitting in my car in the parking lot of the movie theater, 2007. And I'm off in the far corner because it was somewhere I could park and I didn't have to worry about the police coming in, throwing me out, right? And I would have gone in to watch a movie, but I didn't have the $7 it took to watch a movie. And I'm sitting there, a little tear rolling down my eye, and I'm like, I'm an idiot, man. I've screwed this up bad. Like, how the hell am I going to get us out of this? Because we were all in, man. And that was when I was like, okay, where is your business coming from? And I started to figure out there were certain things that I was doing that were actually working. It's like, why don't I just do more of that? And some people will say, well, gee, Russ, that's kind of obvious. Bella, nothing is obvious at all when you're getting your butt kicked day after day after day after day after day. Everything is right here. I can't see anything, right? So you got to get those moments where you just back off a little bit and be like, what's working? Let's do more of that. So I started doing more of that. And then I kind of created a system for that, and I did a lot more of that. And then by, July that year, I got the award for being the #1 agent in the office.
That's so beautiful.
70 agents. Yeah. Right. And I go home with this little award. I come home with this little paper award. I go to my wife. I'm like, look, honey, I got the top agent in the office for the month. And she looked at me, and this is not a true story, but this is how I felt when she replied. She looked at me and said, if you're #1 agent in the office, what's everybody else living on? Because we're broke. I had 2 closings that month. Out of 70 agents, I had 2 closings. Top dog, baby. Right?
I remember, Russ, those days. And, it's funny, over the last year, people are like, well, how are we going to get through this market? I'm like, listen, I was a team leader at a good company called Keller Williams in 2005. And I remember sitting there in October of 2005, and I remember the contracts stopped coming in. All right. Yeah. And then that was kind of the beginning of 2006 and 2007. And it was like horrendous. And Arizona was a lot like Florida. So it's like, once you kind of go through a market like that, if you have a tough market like this, you kind of, you're like, we're going to do this. We're going to get through this. It just kind of, you have more metal to get through it,
Yeah, seen this, been there, done that, got the scars to prove it. It really does come down to that. And the thing is, your best skills aren't built in good times.
That's right.
Best skills are built when you're getting your butt kicked, right? That's when you really gotta figure it out. You gotta really, really learn something and ingrain something, right? So I figured out what worked for me. And then a lady in the office had 4 girls. Her husband was on deployment, 4 girls. He was not doing a good job of sending money home like he's supposed to, which is not cool. In the military, they don't usually put up with that. But she didn't want to report him, deal with that, So she's like, I got to make money. I'm like, all right, cool. So like, here's what I'm doing. So she started doing that. And next thing you know, I've got Angela in the room, and I've got Cynthia in the room, and I've got, I've got 4 ladies in the room, and then I got 5, and then I got 6, and then I got a guy, and one of the real estate offices in the local brand was having trouble, and they said, hey, Russ, if you want to interview for the job, I interviewed for the job. They gave me the managing broker job of an office. And 2.5 years experience, right? And I spent the next 4 years building that office from losing a bunch of money to making a bunch of money. At the end of 2012, I had the #1 privately owned real estate office in Tampa. We had 11 per person productivity, 70 agents and 11 per person productivity.
That's legit.
That's it's one of those things. It's like you get the right people and you teach them, train them, coach them, love them, grow them, and support them. And you support the right activities. And it's not even like just crushing it and banging it out. It's like, I was telling them like, hey, go bowling more, go golfing more. And they're like, what? Like, meet people, right?
Yeah.
So get them out meeting people. So at the end of 2012, I realized I'm making somebody rich, and it wasn't me. What epiphany. Hey, Bella, you're making someone rich. Somebody else or yourself. So pick one, right? So I was like, wait a minute. Why don't I make, like, for every $300,000 I made this company, I got 10 grand, Jeff.
Oh, geez. Wow.
10. And
okay.
I'm like, I want to switch this. So now here's the problem. I've got 4 years of managing broker, non-competing managing broker. Did a deal here and a deal there, just to stay fresh and friends and stuff, that kind of stuff. So I resigned January 13th, and my wife's like, "What are you thinking?" And like end of January, and she's like, "I'm like, I got this, and she's like, "Are you sure you got this?" And not that she was doubting me as much as like, how do you go back to do that? Like literally start from scratch again. So I'm like, now I've got a chip on my shoulder. I've got something to prove. And I've been teaching people how to do stuff for the last 4 years. And you don't think those people are watching me to see exactly what I'm going to do? Right. So I had something to prove. So I went out in 13, sold 105 houses.
Wow.
Come and get this, right? 14 did 143 sales, 15 did 136. Beginning of 14, bought 50% of a real estate brokerage in Tampa, sold it as a fix and flipper in 2015 for a lot more than I paid for it. Not retirement money, but a lot more than I paid for it. That was kind of cool. And then that company asked me to do what I did with those real estate offices. So then I was doing that in the Southeast for them. And then they got rid of the guy on the West Coast. And so I was doing the Southeast and the Southwest. So I had the whole lower half of the US, and it kind of, my territory looked like this. I was like, I make America smile. Because that was kind of what my territory looked like, So I had 28 offices across south half of the country and just under $1 billion closed, 900 and something agents total. And I was managing the managers and showing them how to make those offices profitable. And it was an interesting ride. Resigned from that job, was at EXP for a short period of time. And then I got a call from somebody in 2020 and said, "Hey, Russ, I got a seat at the big boy table, and I think you're the right guy for this job. We're going to build this brokerage. They're at like 3,000 agents. It's interesting. I think you get a kick out of it. Do you think you'd be willing to play this game?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." So I joined up with them as the vice president of recruiting, helped them build from 3,000 to 8,000 agents in 24 months. My personal team hired 2,079 agents in 15 months with 5.8 per person productivity. Again, back to that, not just people, quality people mindset. And that role gave me the opportunity to have a call from Dave Canord at the time, president of EXP. And he said, "Hey, Russ, I heard you're doing some stuff." And I was like, "Yes, I am." So funny enough, the person that got me into the role at the company called Fathom Realty at the time was a person by the name of Wendy Forsyth, who is now Chief Marketing Officer of EXP. So she helped me. She was the one that helped coordinate the purchase of my company, helped me start that process of running the lower half of the country, go off and do my own thing. She went and did her thing, called me when she needed somebody that she knew she didn't have to micromanage and can knock it out of the park. And I just get in and just do what I do. And then next thing you know, she's bringing me over to Fathom, and then we're bringing her over to EXP. And, it's be careful who you talk to and who you're nice to.
That's right. Small industry, isn't it? Yeah. One of the things I love about you, Russ, is not only can you articulately explain the value proposition of our company, but you care about leadership and people development. You care about bringing leaders to the next level. I mean, tell me about that, because I know you got a heart for that.
Jeff, funny enough, very, very few people know this. I'm writing a book, and I have no idea what we're going to title it. The first chapter we titled jokingly, "Stop Juggling Other People's Balls." It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. The whole chapter is about, like, you got to get stuff off your plate, and most of the stuff, there's a lot of stuff on your plate that's other people's stuff, and you shouldn't be juggling that. Like, have your stuff and you do your thing, but it's like when other people are chucking their balls to you, and now you're juggling yours, and you're trying to juggle theirs. And next thing you know, things are flying all over the place. If you can remove one of those, it makes it easier to juggle the ones that are left. And then you remove another one, it makes it easier to juggle the ones that are left. People are like, "Russ, I don't know. How do you find the time to do this?" Like, I don't waste my time on things wasting my time. And I don't juggle other people's balls. Like, that's yours. Let me help you juggle that. That's fine. But just because you toss it to me doesn't mean I need to catch it and start throwing it in my mix, right? So getting things off your plate is important. But the book it's kind of funny because we're going to talk about recruiting and attraction and that kind of stuff. And it's kind of turned into how to become something.
Attractive.
Right? It's how to become something, right? It's helping you become the best you, because what we find in doing most of our jobs, Jeff, is that people are so focused on who they're trying to get, and they forget that who you are matters.
That's right.
And who you are, like, you're not attracting top level talent if you're not top level talent. Right? Like, top level talent's not going to follow somebody that's not top level, right? You don't have to have the most sales, but you have to have skills, right? The coach on the field doesn't have to throw the touchdown, but he has to have enough knowledge base to help that quarterback become the best quarterback. And I think the fun part about leadership is, number one, leading yourself first, the hardest thing we have to do. Secondly, putting yourself on a path to growth so that you're able to attract the type of people that you want. I mean, think about it. Have you ever heard that person's like every guy that Bella dates is a jerk? Geez, Bella, stop doing that to yourself, number one. But, true story about my brother. My brother is now married for the fourth time, 17 plus years with the fourth one, right? The first one, married her, things went weird, right? Did not work out. Second one, repeat of performance of number one. Third one, repeat performance of number one and number two. And my brother said, like, I don't understand why I can't just. And I was like, until you become the man that you need to be, you're never going to attract the woman that's going to be the right woman for that man.
Boom. Mm-hmm. Boom. It's kind of like A's can attract A's, B's, and C's, right? B's and C's can't really attract A's. So yes. it's about self-leadership. You have to start looking at yourself first. Yes. That's the first person you need to work on. I can't wait to read the book. When's it coming out?
Funny enough, I'm working with a guy. If you ever want to write a book, I'm not a writer by nature. I'm a talker. So what this guy has done is he helps coordinate what I'm doing, which is kind of interesting. So he takes like videos that I've done. He takes those videos. He's like, this is a really great concept for us. He takes a video, transcribes the whole thing, puts it all back together, cleans up the verbiage. And then he and I talk through it, bullet points and structure and outline. And I just tell him stories that fill in with these outlines. And he's just like furiously throwing stuff in there. So my wife's like, well, but he's writing the book. And I'm like, here's a paragraph. And she's like, oh, that's you. Wow. He's just helping pull out me and making it organized into a manner that makes sense. So we just did chapter 8. We just did chapter 8 yesterday. And he'll be sending that over to me once he gets it all kind of polished up. And then I take it and then I just add color commentary into it and add some story and, the rest of that stuff. So it's a fascinating process. You can write the whole thing and he's helping me get really clear on the direction we're going within each chapter, which is pretty cool. It's all my stuff. But he's honing it down. Oh, yeah, and by the way, I'm coaching this guy. He's like, I am sitting in a leadership masterclass every week with you. I implemented that thing from last week. And by the way, I got 4 more deals. Hey, wait a minute. How much are you paying me to do this?
Wow. Congratulations.
If you ever want to write a book, just, say the word, because this guy, he's got a knack for making it you. And that's the thing. One of the chapters is being you. Like we named it the White Buffalo. It's like there's these things that make you uniquely you, Bella. And you got to start to celebrate those things. Those things are like people like, well, that's a little weird, dude. That's your jam, right? That's your stuff. That's your power. It's that one little thing that makes you a little bit different. You lean into that stuff. Wow. It doesn't harm other people, of course, but lean into that stuff and have a flavor and have a feel, right? Be passionate about being passionate. It's like you can take 2 people and put them in the same room. You get one person that's really passionate about it, the other person's really knowledgeable about it. They're going to follow the passionate person every single time. Like I walked into the room sometimes. I'm like, I'm the biggest idiot in the room, but I'm super excited about being an idiot. So let's go. And people are like, I'll follow that idiot anywhere.
That's right.
I mean, really how people work.
Yeah. Russ, what drives you to have that passion and just be so energetic? Is this you every day? What motivates you to be like this?
Does that scare you?
No.
No, I've had this question. I've had this question asked a number of times, and a lot of times I can read behind it. The question is, particularly when I'm talking to some of the women working. Like, how does your wife put up with you? All right, so this is the real me. I don't like Jeff. Are you gonna be at EXPCon coming up soon?
Oh, you better believe it.
Right, this is how I roll. Right, this is what I look like. This is what I dress like. This is what I talk like. When we're having a conversation, eating lunch, this is just how I communicate. And then when I'm done doing that, I shut off. So I'm kind of like a light switch. So I do this, and it gets it all out of my system. And at the end of the day, I'm done. I can literally say. I can name on a couple hands days that I finish my work day where I haven't literally left everything on the field that I can leave on the field. I'm also the guy that when I race triathlons, I threw up at every finish line. every single race, every
All
race.
in, baby, all in.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know you're all in until the call comes out. That's the thing, and all my buddies are like, how do you do that to yourself? I'm like, you never know what too far is until you go too far. Until that moment, you could have gone faster. So it's kind of like that. But then when I'm done, like my wife's like, if people saw you after work, I look like a homeless dude. Like homeless dude sitting in the corner with dirty pants on, and I go hide in my wood shop, and I'll sit outside and smoke a cigar and read a book, and I hide from people in the evenings all the time. I recharge by being alone. So I'm actually technically an introvert. I'm just a really enthusiastic one.
My wife's the same way. She goes hard every day, works very hard, very good communicator. She gets home, wants to shut it down. I totally can relate.
Shut
Yeah.
up. Yeah. So
So, Russ, you and I talk to people around the country every day about how to scale their business. We show them how to become more profitable, how to become a better leader, better leverage, right? All these things. But oftentimes our company is accused of being everything about recruiting. So, what do you say about that, Russ, when people say that about us?
Well, they're right.
Sure.
They're right. Up until about 2020. Right. But you got to keep in mind, like this whole recruiting thing's funny. So like when I took the job with Fathom Realty as a VP, I'm like, whatever you do, don't put recruiting in my title. And they're like, why not? I'm like, I hate recruiting. And they're like, you're going to be the vice president of recruiting. Like, what do you mean you hate recruiting? I hate recruiting. I'm not a recruiter. I'm an attractor. I'm a leader, and I get like, do your leaders throw your flag up and look back and see if somebody's following you. If they're following you, you're a leader. If they're not following you, you're a loner. Or a loser. Pick one, right? But this the reputation is built when you're starting a company, you're starting any brand, you have to go full in. I mean, the number one thing you need is people, right? So I would say to my team, I'm like, listen, when we're building in a new market, the first thing we do is let's get to 50 as fast as we can. Because once we get to 50, then I can bring 2 in and push 1 out that's not a good fit. I can bring 2 in and hold people accountable, and people are going to self-select themselves out the door. So there's a certain critical mass you need to get to have a certain amount of energy and a certain amount of feel. Because people will say, well, how many, you guys just started. How many agents do you have? 2. Nobody wants to join that party. They're like, hey, by the way, there's a party at the Live nightclub on Monday night. If you want to go to that, Kyle Whistle's got tickets for that. They're going to have Flow Rida. They rented the whole place, and they're actually paying Flow Rida to come out and do a set. Who does that, right? But anyway, so these guys got this thing. So it's one of those things you sit back and you go like, if you said to me, how many people are going to that? I'm like, 2. Do you want to go? But you can have a place that has a line of people out the building. Like nobody even knows what's going on in the building, but they'll jump in that line because obviously something interesting has got to be going on. So there's a certain amount of critical mass that you need to get to, and there's a certain amount of reps that you need to do. And then once you get those certain reps, then so people will say, well, Russ, I want to go for quality, not quantity. I want to go for quantity first, and then I want to go for quality quantity. Because you just got to get some reps, right? You got to build some stuff. You got to break some stuff. You got to mess some stuff up. The early stuff is not going to be the best stuff. The early stuff is going to be just the stuff that you got done. And then as you learn a little bit and you start learning what works with you and with your people, then I can start getting really selective on quality. Because Jeff, I can come back to you now and say, hey, listen, man, I've got 15 people in the office right now, and 14 of them came to me with less than 5 sales, and now all of them are over 20.
Boom. Yep.
So let me ask you, Jeff, if I'm going to be able to show you how to go from 0 to 20 in the next 12 months, why would I take you?
Yeah.
Well,
a role reversal.
Complete power shift, right?
Yep.
So it's getting the ability to build the track record and getting the ability to build the experience and hone the experience and then learn how to communicate that experience. Real estate agents don't want to change companies.
No.
They want to sell more houses. And if they think they can sell more houses there than here, they're going to be like, maybe I should be thinking about going over there because that might get me to where I want to go. People don't decide what to do. They decide what to do that's going to get them the result that they want. So if I can say clearly, like, here's where I am now, here's where I want to be, there's always a space between those. And if I can show you 2 or 3 things that'll help you get to where you want to be, do you want to talk about that? Every single time. Yes. Right. Mm-hmm. And Jeff, here's the fun part. It almost doesn't matter who you're talking to. Everybody wants more. You know what the happiest guy in the world wants? To be happier.
Love it.
I'm a pretty happy dude. I mean, literally, I've got it tattooed on my forearm backwards. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise. This is my mantra, right? Happy
Love
first, right? I'm one of the happiest people I know.
Yeah.
And you know what I've got two. Hold on. Sean Aker, Before Happiness. Sean Aker, Happiness Advantage. These are the books I'm reading again. You know why? I like being happy. And I'd like to be happier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's shift a little bit into more recruiting conversations. And this year, obviously, has been kind of slow in the market. Transactional volumes down.
Yeah.
We talked to a lot of independent brokers, right? And we're seeing a lot of independent brokers now start to take a look at us now more than they ever have, right?
Yeah.
So why are they coming over, and why do they resist coming over? And I know these answers because I was one, but I want to hear your take on it, Russ.
Well, two things that are important. Number one, I think we don't do a good job of telling the story about what we do.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we do and what does that look like? We don't tell the story of what their life would look like by making that shift. We don't get into what do they like to do? What do they not like to do? And if I could show you how to go back to doing the things that you like to do, man, I got their attention fast. Okay. So we got to get into getting really clear on what they like to do. Okay,
yeah,
so
and why they wanted to do it to begin with, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, tell me what you love about this business. And then you're like, I don't like, and they'll make a list. Like, I love people. Why did you start this company in the first place? I just love people, and I wanted to give back, and I wanted to help people take their business to the next level, and I wanted to build a legacy. I saw that guy when I was young. This is a true story, actually. This was a story from last week. She's like, I saw the guy standing on the top of the hill, looking off into the distance, and he had the company outing. Excuse me. Been a long day of talking. Can't wait to get to Miami. So he's standing at the top of the hill, and he's kind of got this look of satisfaction on his face. He's got his head up, and he's looking at the sky, and he's looking down, and he's surveying the hundreds of people, including families and kids that were at the company party. And she's like, I looked up that hill, and I thought, I want to have that feeling that guy's having right now. Look at what I created. I said, and what you're doing is you're standing in a hole right now, looking up at all the people standing on top of you, saying, look at what I created. She's like, didn't turn out exactly what I wanted. You see, they get into that because they want to take good care of people. And then what happens is they get in a position where they're no longer in control. A lot of people say, well, why did you start your own brokerage? It's like, I want freedom to do what I wanted to do. And I said, and what's happening actually is this. You built your own cage, and every agent you added to this group added another bar to the cage. And now you can't see anything.
Trapped. Mm-hmm.
See, here's the thing, Jeff. When you talk about stuff, whatever, it doesn't do anything. But if you can get somebody to feel something, you can get them to do damn near anything. If you can get them to feel something, let's connect to that feeling. It's like, this didn't work out as you planned. And by the way, Bella, this happens all the time. I talk to brokerage after brokerage after brokerage after brokerage. I've had four of them, two today, two yesterday, one Monday. I have five already this week off the top of my head, and all of them are in the same exact boat. This thing does not serve them anymore. The thing that they built doesn't do what they wanted it to do. And now, after losing money a couple years back to back, the one, she's like, I've been in business for 3 years. I've lost money every year. I'm done. The other one's like, I've been in business 30 years. I've had 70, 80 people. I just got rid of 40 of them. I'm down to 22, 23 good agents. And I'm looking at my stuff going like, why am I doing this? Why am I still doing this? It still doesn't make sense for me to do it. She's like, the amount of time, energy, effort it takes doesn't account for the lack of making money, much less the fact that I have to put money into the thing every month. So when you're looking at the way the business went, so a normal year in business is about 5.3 million sales per year. That's a normal year. Mm-hmm. Okay. We had 4.09 million sales last year. We're tracking for 3.95 million sales this year.
Wow.
Which means if you're breaking even at 5.3 million sales, you're 20% in the hole at 4.
Yep.
Because you look across the industry, you got 5.3 million, take $1 million out, this 20+%, a little over 20%. reduction in business. And when we look at these brokerages, Jeff, and I pull the numbers and I've looked at P&Ls on dozens and dozens and hundreds of these things, right? And if you looked at their P&Ls, which I never even need to look at anymore, you just do the math on it. If you see a brokerage that's profitable by 1 or 2%, that's good. If you see one at 5, that's rock star status. Wow. And typically those ones will have affiliated business arrangements where there's other income streams that are coming in. But when you look at a pure residential, classic, typical real estate business, they lose money.
Yeah. And what's sad?
550 agents, 17 offices. Residential made $0. If it wasn't for mortgage and title, they would have $0 from the whole thing. 550 agents got net to even.
Wow. And you look at a lot of these brokerages and they're hemorrhaging money, right? But their ego and a lot of times it's a lot of feelings that are not logically based on any fact. And that's why they're afraid of what people will think. They're afraid of letting people down, themselves down, instead of just looking at the numbers, you know?
Yeah, and then the problem is we as an industry will approach them like this. And I've seen this taught, and I really don't like this at all. What you need to do, Russ, you need to reach out to that owner. Just ask him, how's your business? And I'm like, you call me and ask me that question, my answer is going to be none of yours.
None of your business.
None of yours. Every single time. I'm like, none ya. Like, what? I'm sorry, what? None of your business, okay? So they're not going to, like, here's the problem. They've got this facade that they've built. And unfortunately, they build this facade and then they have to pretend to be this character that's loving life and everything's great and we're making money and I got the car and I got the stuff. And everybody thinks these owners are all living large, right? And they're like, they don't realize these guys are losing their butt.
It's a big mask.
It's a huge mask, right? So then we approach them with the wrong conversation. Would you like to talk about taking your business to the next level? No. So there's three reasons why somebody would potentially move a brokerage or do something different with a brokerage. One is they want out. Like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And by the way, I've got 2 of those this week. Like, if I could just dump these people, walk away and have them taken care of, I don't want to just abandon them. But if I could push them off on you guys and have them taken care of, I would love that. I'm like, what are you going to do? You're like, get out of here. Right? Okay. Got it. So they want out. Okay. We're seeing more of that because they're just sick of it now. After 2 and 3 years of getting their butt kicked, they're just like, I just need out of this thing. The second one is they want to level up their business. I want to take my business to the next level, but I just don't know how. Because I'll see these people. I'm like, well, you got to 20. I said, what was the dream? The dream was never they're going to open a brokerage and have 20 agents. Never. Not one. Okay. So I know if they're at 20, they're not living their best life. I'm going to open my own brokerage and we're going to get 100 agents. We're going to go to 300 agents. And they're stuck at 20 and they're just bouncing along even. And what they realize is that instead of spending the time doing the stuff that they love, now they're spending a bunch of time working on the back end of the business, which means they can't do the front end, which is what grows it. So the front end grow part gets let go. And then the back end having to manage the business goes up. So they're doing way more and more of the stuff that they don't like and less of the stuff they do like. And I'm going to say, okay, if we can get you back to doing the stuff that you love,
yes,
would you like to talk about that? And they're like, I would love that. Right? But it starts with asking them questions. What do you love to do? If I know that, then I'm only going to sell them a plan that shows them how they can get back to loving what they do. And then the third one, by the way, is shift. So they want to shift what they're doing. It's like, I don't want to stop doing this. I just don't want to do it like this anymore. And we're the sweet spot for those people. You want to go back to doing what you love? I can show you exactly how to do that. You can still have your own your own flavor, your own feel, your own vibe, your own tribe. You can still have your own thing. And you're basically using us as a platform to stand taller, stand prouder, and attract the right people to you. And you can build your own thing again, the flavor that you wanted originally. So you probably originally wanted 100 people. Why don't we talk about what would 1,000 look like? If you could have 1,000 and not work 40 hours a week, would that excite you? Well, now you got my attention. Okay, well, let's talk about that. Okay, good. Let's talk about that. See, when you get them to lean in a little bit, yeah, I want to. That's what I want to talk about. Get them to lean in a little bit, and you get them nodding. You got to nod in your head. You can't even stop your heads from nodding. Like, you guys are like, I want to go where this guy's dragging me right now. I like, just follow that guy, right? So it's you got to figure out which one of those 3 it is, and then you got to speak to that. Instead of let me tell you how great EXP is. We had this company come over and we changed their life. They don't care. How do we get you back to living your best life? If I could show you 2 or 3 things that get you back to living your best life, if I could get you back on track with building this group, building this tribe, building this amazing pile of people, put you in a spot where you can help change people's lives and not starve to death in the process, not hate every Friday. Everybody else gets paid and you're sitting there going like, all right, money's gone. Last check. Why don't I get a check?
Yeah, and see, and a lot of people don't realize that's a process to get to that point to where they feel like they can trust you enough to completely open up, right? It's like that's something somebody's not going to tell you in the first call, right? Yeah. Recruiting a person, a talented person, or anyone for that matter, is a process. It's a process of trust, needs analysis, demonstrating the value that we can give as a company, and they have to really trust you and like you to start opening up. Then when they start opening up, then you can get somewhere.
It's the way that you put the flag up that people look over and they're like, hey, wait a minute, that's my flag, right? Because we're out there, we're like, we do this and we do this and we did this and we sold 355,000 homes last year, 355,000 closings last year, which is a lot, by the way. That's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations. What does that do for them, right? So here's a story. So it's like, let's start doing things and putting things out into the market and telling the story of Jeff. We had this person that came to us. Her name was Bella. Bella wasn't living her best life. She got into this business. She wanted to build this business. She wanted to build the tribe, build the brokerage. And what she found is that the bigger it got, the harder it got. And the bigger it got, the less it was what she really wanted out of life. So what we've done is we've gotten Bella back on track to realize her dreams. She's working less hours, having way more fun, and she's not having to do all the things she didn't love to do. If you guys identify with that story, we should talk. If this business you're not getting out of this business what you originally thought you'd get out of this business, we need to talk.
That's right.
It's open lines of communication. If we can show you 2 or 3 things that get you back on the path to living your best life and living that dream and realizing that dream, would you be open to talking about that? Completely different way of communicating with a human. Because I know a lot of these guys are like, I don't want to do this anymore. And this doesn't work for me anymore. This isn't what I planned. Let's get you back to your sweet spot. And some people get to the point, Jeff, and they just realize I suck as an owner. Like, I had a guy be like, I'm a horrible owner. I'm horrible. I have not done what I needed to do. My team is exactly where it is for a reason. I've done just a complete crap job over the last 2 years of taking care of them. And I'm embarrassed that this is where it is, but it is what it is. I mean, I did it to myself. Like, it takes a really strong human to actually put that into the world and say that out loud. I mean, how many people blame themselves for anything?
Oh, huge.
Gotta love it.
So good. Russ, what do you love most about your specific role? And what would you change? Like, what would you do differently?
I really wish I'd started off building a brand where I was wearing like cool t-shirts and a flat brim hat. I really wish I'd done that. Because you know what? I could walk into a room with a t-shirt and a flat brim hat, and if I don't say anything, nobody knows who I am. I walk into a room dressed like this, you could put a bag over my head and they're like, that's Russ. I got known for this, and now I'm stuck with it forever.
That's cool.
It's not the worst, right? However, when I do float in the lazy river dressed like this, it does get a little strange. And I have done that. I'm like, you guys want to be funny about this? Like, what, you swim with that on? I'm like, of course I don't. I have a swim vest for that. So with that said, a couple of things that I love about this role, and I've gotten myself to the point where the people I work for know that if they leave me alone, I'm gonna knock it out of the park. And I will say out loud, and I've said this to a couple of people, I'm like, listen, if you micromanage me, I'm out, right? If you can't trust me to do the job, just let's get clear on where you need me to be on Friday. I will freaking be there with bells on. And you're like, you should be going right. I'm like, and I'm going left. I'm like, 3 lefts make a right. I go, zit, 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 zit. And you're like, Russ, I'm just picking up speed going that way, right? And they come up like this and go like this. I go this way, this way, this way, this way. So, I think the thing I love about this job is that the people that I work with and for, I think they get me for the most part. Heck, I don't even get me all. I don't get 100% of me either, by the way. But I think they get me enough to let me be me. I've pretty much built this role into the role that I think will make the best impact doing what I'm doing. When I originally hired in with Dave Kennard, I'm like, so what do you want me to do? He's like, I want you to go do what you do. And a week later, he's like, I've had like 50 people reach out to me like, where the hell did you find that guy? He's like, when you have a good hire, typically when you have the right hire and the right person for a role, typically you'll know in the first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, if you got the right people. He's like, I was like 2-3 days in. But it was, and I was like, Dave, the reason it is because you let me do what I do and you let me do what I'm best at. Like Wendy Forsythe, Chief Marketing Officer. She's like, the thing I enjoy the most about watching you and your path is I know you're in your sweet spot and you're having a freaking great time doing it. I have the freedom to do what I do best and have a really great time doing it. So I've kind of crafted and created this my own role for myself. And let's be clear, I do a number of things that I intentionally avoid. Like, that's not, and everybody's like, no, don't make Russ do that. he get grumpy real quick when you make me deal with technology and deal with spreadsheets. Like, don't make me fill out spreadsheets. Okay, I'm not that guy. But there are plenty of people that love that stuff. So find the things that you love and then find a way of crafting the role into the role that you really want. You'll find that for everything you love to do, there are people that hate to do that. You're like, wait a minute. If you hate to do that and you hate to do that, I'll do that for us three. You do that, that, and that. Now I'm doing what I love. You're doing what you love. So we have a lot of that going on. And our growth team, the growth team that I work with now, they're just Bella, I've never been in a job where I've told the people that I work with that I love them. Not that I love working with them. I love them. And I'm talking Frank. I'm like, I love you, man. Frank's like, I love you too, man. We've got very different skill sets and different ways of applying things, and we all kind of bring something unique to the table. And I love the way they roll. I love the way Amy rolls. I love the way Frank rolls. I love the way Tony rolls. I called Tony the other night, and I'm like, I just need somebody else's brain on this because I'm stuck in this tunnel. I don't want to do this. I don't want to put my name on this. And he's like, why not? EXP wins. I'm like, yeah, but if somebody found out I made that deal and I did that deal, they're going to, never mind. I'm going to get out of my own ego. It's like, I don't want to give away anything, but he's like, you didn't give it. You're letting him give away his own stuff, not our stuff. I'm like, you're right.
It's so true. You know, everything you're saying is right on. It's like, I've been doing this 24 years and I honestly can tell you, I still love every day getting up and doing what I'm doing. I love it because I get to help people provide for their family. I get to help them make a big decision to make life better for themselves. Yeah. I get to see the joy on a buyer's face when they get into that house. I will never lose that feeling. It's the greatest thing. And to me, real estate's just a vehicle. It's a product. I could sell a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. I love real estate, but it's just a vehicle. It's a mechanism. To me, it's about the joy of helping others and serving others. Yeah. And that's why I love what I do, right? When I see Bella succeed and handle her clients, I'm like, I was a part of that, and that's exciting to me. So I totally can relate. I want to share one other thing, Russ, and that is over the last, half of a year, I've been so proud of our company. Okay. I saw the founder, Glenn, make some strategic decisions that I think that are going to catapult our company. Quite honestly, I think Leo is astounding. And what we did with Leo and Holly and all the senior leaders, we led by example. We said, listen, we're going to create forms. We're going to create things that help the entire industry. It was an abundant mindset, not scarcity at all. And, because of that, I just want to say I'm proud. I'm proud of our company. I'm even proud of the settlement that just happened. I'm so proud of everything we've done. And I hope more EXP agents start to preach this from the rooftops because what we're doing is special. I mean, we're helping the whole industry navigate through all these changes.
It's really interesting because I see people and we lose people. The good news is we're losing a lot of the right people,
right?
Meaning that we're not losing our higher producers a lot of times. I mean, we got one here and there, but we're bringing in a lot higher quality. Our per person productivity has gone up, and a lot of people say, well, like in order for you to be the best business, you need to protect everything, right? Like that's our secret sauce. I'm like guys, no, give everybody everything you've got. Like right. I don't hold back at all. You want to hear my recipe? I will tell you every single thing in that recipe, all the way end to end, right? I'm like, I'll bear it all, right? Here's the book. Here's the recipe, right? That's why I'm writing the book. It's like, how do you become this person? And listen, like nobody gets it right all the time. No company gets it right all the time. There are the things we've done that we're like, I could have done that differently. I sat in a top leadership meeting, and Glenn Sanford's like, yeah, we screwed that one up. And we're all kind of like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like being able to say, like, we're not perfect. We're gonna try stuff, right? And some things you try, they'll work. Some things you try, you're like, man, I just put Worcestershire sauce with a little pat of butter with riced cauliflower and frozen corn in a pan. Threw in a couple dollops of cream cheese, add a little bit of water. I got this, like, I don't even know what the heck you call it. It was awesome, right? I start winging stuff together. Like, I didn't know if that was going to work. It turned out pretty darn good. And there's other times my wife's like, that tastes like a salt lick. So you got to be willing to take that try and then just like, it is what it is, and not expect everything to work. I mean, I'm super optimistic in general. I expect a lot of things to work. But you don't always win. It's not that, like, listen, like, in Vegas, if you win 51% of the time, you're winning.
That's right.
You don't have to win all the time. 51%, right? If you bat 300, you're a Hall of Famer. You strike out 7 out of 10 times in baseball, you're a Hall of Famer, right? And we're like, well, I got a 90. Like, you're not a loser for getting a 90. Like 90, like that's almost irresponsibly high.
Yeah, and I'm proud to say, by the way, Russ, I'm proud to say Bella was an ASU World Series D1 softball player. Went to the World Series, man. She was a 300 hitter, and she's legit, so she gets it.
Yeah, there you go, Hall of Famer right there. So, yeah. So here's the thing, right? So when Bella, so if I was going to interview you, we're going to talk about doing business. I'm looking for 3 things. Okay, I'm looking for motivation, which is the things I'm thinking and the things that I'm saying, and then I'm looking for drive, which is the things I'm doing and done, and I'm looking for nice. So if you're motivated, driven, and not nice, I don't want you. Okay. If you're motivated, driven, and nice, I'm like, now let's talk, right? But that drive is like, when I interview somebody, I'll ask the question. It's like, tell me about a time when you did something awesome. Tell me about a time when you won. Tell me about a time when you did something you're really proud of what you did. There are people that will be like, well, what do you mean? Like, that's somebody that hasn't done enough cool things in their life. Like, if you can't come up with something off the top of your head, that means you're not doing anything.
Boom.
Right? So you, yes, Hall of Famer, softball, boom, done. Right there.
I just promoted you to a Hall of Famer, Bella.
No, but I've failed. I've won. It's a lot of things that you just go through to learn.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you struck out once and you're like, I'll give up.
No.
Strike out once more. By the way, the best way to stop striking out is to go strike out more.
Yeah,
and learn how not to do that. There's so many things in life that you're like, I want to learn to do this. I'm like, and the way to learn to do this is to learn how not to do it. It really is. It's a process of elimination, right? So with EXP's been an experiment since day one, Jeff. And then one of the amazing things about you being in this company and what you do is the leadership that you have, and you're out front and you're helping other people in this process. And I think the one thing that I really love about this company is the ability for us to, it's like, I've got 5 stages of a career. First one is I just got to make money. Second one is I need to get my time back. Third one is I want freedom, financial freedom and other, right? And spiritual freedom goes along with that. And then the fourth one is building a legacy. Am I doing something that gives back? Am I doing something that people will know me for? Because you listen, if you ever have a time in your life where things aren't going the way you want them to do, start giving.
That's right.
Start giving to other people. And what you're going to find is your problems start to go away fast. A lot of people circle the wagons and they try to just take care of themselves and go in self-protection mode and try to do everything for themselves. When you start doing things for other people, it shifts everything. Right? Mm-hmm. So building a legacy, doing things for other people is one of the most powerful things you can do to take your business to the next level. Jeff, you know how I got here? Helping everybody else. And I've said to him, listen, I want to win and I want you to win. You first. When you win, I'll get mine afterwards.
Little Zig Ziglar there.
They say the leaders eat last, right? It's like, you guys go handle your thing, man. If there's something left, cool. If not, get McDonald's on the way home. Okay? Is what it is. I'm not going to starve to death. So this whole process is about building a legacy. And then the fifth level is helping other people build a legacy. The first legacy is building my own legacy. The second legacy is helping other people build a legacy. Because when I get to the point where I'm like, I got my legacy, it's like, what's left to do? Well, I want to help Bella build a legacy. I want to help Jeff build a legacy. I want to help Adam build a legacy. I want to help all you guys build a legacy. And you can do all 5 of those here at EXP. Not a lot of companies you can do that. There's not a lot of reward for helping other people win. In our company, when you help other people win, you win too. That's priceless. That's a game changer. That's the real disruptor. Is there's a real value to helping other people win. And Jeff, you do a brilliant job of that.
Thank you. It's my passion, man. We're going around the home stretch. I love your spirit, Russ. I love it so much. Tell me a little bit about like where you see the company, 3 years, 5 years. I know it's kind of a loaded question, but where are we going?
I see more of the same for the next year. I see a lot more of the same for the next year. I like the moves that EXP has made from a business standpoint. So when I look at a business, I don't look at it like a real estate agent looks at it, like how do I sell more houses? I look at it as like, do we structurally, fundamentally have the right leadership in place? And I will tell you right now, I could not possibly trust the leadership that I see. And I mean, I'll sit in the room with them and I'll look around. I'm like, we got the right people. I still don't know what I'm doing here, but we got the right people. Right. So leadership coming from Leo and the way they tack on things and the way they look at things. I love that. The leadership that Glenn still provides and the things that he's doing to enhance and build global. He's kind of back in his sweet spot, kind of trying to build something out of nothing. I mean, global's kind of going, but he's going to really accelerate that process, which is kind of interesting. I think it's kind of a fun thing for him to get into that because it's a little bit different. And he's the right guy to do it, right? So from a founder standpoint, he's the right guy to do that. So I think we've got the right people. We've got them in the right roles. We've got the facility and the ability to do the things that we need to do. I really think that over the next year, if we're north of 4.1 million homes sold in a year, I'll be surprised. So barring something catastrophic happening or really substantial happening, we're going to have more of the same for the next year. What more of the same means for us is a good thing, okay? Because we become that landing place. More of the same, more hurricanes, not physical, but business. More things just making it so the water keeps rising, the water keeps rising, and the water keeps rising, and the water keeps rising. And these people are up to here right now. They don't have anywhere to go, right? There's nowhere to go. So we are becoming that landing spot. Let's say over the next 2 or 3 years, because of the supply of home shortage, we're probably going to be in for the same ride for the next 2 or 3 or 4 years. And there's people out there just cannot sustain that. So what do you do? So if I could show you how to get back to doing what you love and be able to do that over here with us, you can still have your own flavor, your own style, your own vibe, and you'll be able to put some dollars in your pocket. You can work less hours, make more money again, and still be able to build that group and make a difference and give back. If I could show you how to do that here, would you like to do that? And the answer is yes, a lot. So we're going to have a lot more people coming to us instead of us going to them. Jeff, everybody, Bella, everybody right now is touchable. 5 years ago, bunch of people untouchable. It didn't matter. You're like, Bella, hey, I'll give you $5 million to sell your company, move it over here. And she'd be like, nah. No. Now you're like, hey, I'll get you over here and you don't have to pay me any money. She'd be like, okay. Right. So we've gone from people going from like, hey, everything's fine to everything not being fine. And everything's fine for a little while. Like, listen, if we have a zombie apocalypse, I'm going to be fine for about, 8 weeks, 9 weeks. I've got my freeze-dried food. I got my little water gizmo. I'm not a prepper or a weirdo. I just know weird stuff happens sometimes, and I'm prepared for it. At the 8-week mark, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be out in the backyard trying to find that deer that was walking around. I'll be eating his butt because I'm going to be starving at that point, right? That deer's perfectly safe until I run out of my freeze-dried food. Then that deer's in trouble. So now you got to do things you don't want to do. I don't want to kill a deer, but I'll do it if I have to. And we've got people in that same kind of equivalent in business space now, and they've already been there for a year or two. They're already wet up to here. And by the way, it's going to stay there. At some point, you're like, I'm done. Okay, so we have the ability to be that spot for people to actually seek refuge. If you're going to be in a storm and you're going to be in a really bad storm and we're in one now and one more is coming, you want to be on the biggest boat you can be on. We're a pretty damn big boat. And we've got the ability to make the adjustments to keep the thing level and keep the thing above water. It's pretty cool. It's a good spot to be in.
Russ, what a blessing, man. This has been a fast hour. It went like this.
We're in an hour? Come on.
Yeah. This is Russ Laggan, Senior Vice President of EXP Realty. If you're out there listening to us, come talk to us, right? There's never any harm in building relationships, right? And people that are open-minded love to build relationships, learn about our model. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not for you, but we want to help you regardless, So we're just happy you're with us today. And you're going to hear a lot more from other leaders like Russ. I like bringing on supreme talent, and you can see why Russ is so good at what he does. And I'm thankful, Russ. Last thing I just want to say is I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for this company. It's made me better, and I just can't wait. I just feel like we're getting started. And so Bella and I are very, very grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we got a lot of long runway coming up, and thank you for your leadership. I mean, because we've got to have people that are in the trenches doing that stuff. And if you guys bump into Jeff, you're talking to Jeff, like, Jeff, you have my permission to say, do you want to talk to that guy personally? And I'll help you guys sort through it, and we'll help you make the best decision for you. That's what we do. If it's a good decision for you, then we'll encourage it. If it's not, I'll be the first one to say it. Jeff, you want to be on one of those conversations? You're like, Russ, stop talking. Stop talking. Like, why did you say that? Because it was the right thing to say. If they're not the right fit, I'll say it. Because I don't want to bring someone over who's not a good fit. We want the right people for us. Not everybody's the right fit. We'll find out if they are. If they are, let's roll. If they're not, cool. It's all good. And hey, at least you know. Find something else that's better fit. And we might be able to guide you towards that too.
Yeah. Thank you, Russ. And the last thing I'll remind everybody is we're in Phoenix. Bella, myself, my other teammate Chase, we handle Phoenix. And we sell a lot of homes. Not only are we good at helping people's careers, but we sell a lot of houses. I've been doing this 24 years. I love what I do. And I have an amazing team with Bella and Chase alongside of me. So if you're a buyer, call us. If you're a seller, call us. We'll take very, very good care of you. So with that, we're signing off. Bella and Russ, thank you again, sir. You're an amazing person.
You're quite welcome. Thank you. Appreciate the invite.
All right.
Thank you, Russ.